if I traded it all.
So welcome back, everyone. My next guest has never been on the air with me before. I have with me Lauren Miller, and she's the owner of Sonoran Senior Placement. Welcome to the show. Now, you do something, get back right up on top of this mic, really close, okay? So everybody can hear you. Tell everybody a little bit about what you do, and, you know, because it's different than what Peter does, but you also are a free service. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, Carol. So I work with seniors, and I help families who need to transition their loved ones into assisted living or memory cares or possibly a group home, because they're no longer safe to live at home any longer.
So let's talk about that. Now, how do you do that? How do you assess them? How does that work?
So normally I meet with a family and we discuss what's been going on, and we see if the client can possibly live at home with some help. If they need 24-hour care, that's when we determine that they need to go into, say, an assisted living, possibly independent living, and just meet with the family, find out what needs they're going to need, and see what type of price point they're at, and then we find communities that will be suitable for them.
Well, how hard is that to do for people that try and do it on their own?
It's extremely hard.
How many homes are there?
There's about 1,500 homes in Maricopa County, so for someone to go online and try to research and find something that might be appropriate, something that is approved by the state that has good ratings, it's a mountainous task.
It is. And so having somebody who is knowledgeable, you've been doing this how long?
I've been working with seniors for 25 years, initially as a therapist in rehab settings. So I've seen from both ends where clients try to get better and go back home, and then unfortunately they can't get better. And that's when the decision's made that we have to come up with a game plan to transition them to some type of long-term care living.
When you work with people, do you work valley-wide?
Yes, most of my work is done in the East Valley, but I certainly can do valley-wide placements.
Okay. And the phone number to call her is 480-447-5787. You're also on Facebook, but I'm going to give you the website, which is the same thing on Facebook. So it's Sonoran Senior Placement.com. Again, that phone number, it's 480-447-5787. This is a free service to the families out there. There are also, as I said with Peter, there's also big, on television you see those that do it as well. Why call someone like you?
When you call someone local, they can give you more personalized service. So when someone calls me, I will meet with the family, come up with a game plan. I will do the research, take the families on tours to all the communities. I will follow up with the case managers, go into the facilities or hospitals where they're at to make it a smooth transition, set up transportation if they need medical equipment. So I can walk them through the whole process, whereas an online agency is most likely going to send you a list of places to go to on your own.
So you've seen both sides of this. How do you decide, what place is right for that one person?
So when you do the assessment, it depends, first of all, if they're male or female. If they're younger, sometimes there's someone in their 60s where you would want them to be in a setting where they're going to be able to stay engaged and interact with people their age, as opposed to being in a, say, a smaller group home with 4 97-year-old residents. So you really have to personalize it to the client and what type of needs that is going to suit them best for them to thrive.
And, it's so interesting because you have to get to know them. Everybody has a story, right?
Exactly.
And especially, even as you get older, there's even more so. We don't know what's going on. What are some of the signs that someone might look for when they start saying, I think maybe mom is not going to be okay being at home anymore by herself?
Probably the number one sign is falls. Someone starts falling.
I hope it's not memory, because mine is going already.
That's another one. So if someone is leaving the stove on, personal hygiene starts to lack, they're refusing showers, driving and getting lost.
So there's many different things. And do you also can help them if they need somebody in home as well?
Exactly. So that's when I do that, when I assess them, and that's when we decide that could they use somebody a couple hours a day. If they're needing somebody 24 hours, it's more feasible to go somewhere because the price point is so high to have someone in your home for 24
Oh,
hours.
it's terrible. But sometimes, if you want that, that's something somebody wants, that they want that, that's a need
And
that
they
they
can
might
have-
want. And you can help them find that right person, too.
Find an agency that can come in and do that.
The number to call her is 480-447-5787. Sonoran Senior Placement.com is the website, and you can also find her at Facebook there as well. Again, a free service to you. It makes sense to talk to somebody here local that can help you. She also has been on both sides of this, so she really knows the ins and outs. Been in the industry for 25 years. When you work with the communities that you work with, are they licensed by the state?
Yes, every community that I show a family is licensed and inspected by the state of Arizona.
How did you get into this business?
I was working as a therapist in rehab settings and saw the transition when we were discharging residents and they could no longer go home. We made the decision that they needed 24-hour care. And just to see the families go into a panic state, like, where are we going to take them? What am I going to do with them? So I started doing some research. I went back and became a certified senior advisor and a certified placement and referral specialist, and helped them transition into different, types of setting for long-term care.
So it's not like you want to just get a place that's close by. I mean, you would think that, okay, well, I live here, I want to go see my mom, but I'm going to go make sure that that's in the same neighborhood. May not be the right place.
Exactly.
Okay, and so again, you would help them find the right place for them. Obviously, also close at the same time. You said like 1,500 homes in Maricopa alone.
Right. So
Which is a lot.
logistically, I would try to keep it as close as possible. But if there's not a good option, it may be an outlying area, then normally the families are willing to move into an area that's got a little more choices.
Do you help people, let's say, because, when somebody is going to have to be, let's say, moved out of the home, and they don't want to do that, do you help the families? Because that's a hard conversation to have, especially for the family. It's the kid or daughter saying, Mom, you have to go. That parent is saying, are you kidding me? But when you sit down, it's different. How do you work with that situation?
It's very hard. A lot of times, if you just let the client know that, your kids can no longer take care of you, that you need more help with skilled workers, that we're going to try this out until you get stronger, sometimes that's a little easier pill to swallow than say that we're selling your house, you're moving out, you're going into assisted living.
Right.
I think if you give them a little bit of hope that there's a possibility that they might get better, or that that they are easing the burden on their loved ones.
Do they sometimes get better?
Oh, absolutely.
And so sometimes they're not in a facility forever, necessarily.
Right, like if someone broke their hip and they could not go home because the house is not wheelchair accessible.
Makes
and they
sense.
went somewhere and 4 months later they improved and they could go back home with the family.
So your service, as I said, again, it's a free service, is not just for somebody who is the elderly that is possibly going through dementia or what have you. It literally could be somebody who just had a hip replacement and the house is not accessible, so they want to find the right place for them because it takes time to heal from that.
Exactly. Or even if their family's going on vacation and you have mom or dad living with you and you want to go on a cruise.
So short-term or long-term.
That you can find a short-term. You can help the families, help them go into a short-term respite situation so that they have 24-hour care watching
It's
their mom or
good to
dad.
listen to the Networking Arizona show because you get this information. You may not even... And here's the thing about the show, too. It might be you. It might be someone that you know. It also may not be right this second. That's the other thing about, radio or advertising in a sense, right? It's not necessarily right this second, though it might be. If it's not, maybe you know somebody that might need something like this. Also, put the phone number in the phone, right? Because now you can do that, and you could put it in the phone, and God forbid, either something can happen, you have it there. At least you can have that free consultation with you, an assessment if you need it. And again, even if it's something that's short-term, that's a possibility too.
Absolutely.
Again, that phone number to call, it's 480-447-5787. It's Sonoran Senior Placement.com. She works pretty much valley-wide. She can help you with that. She's been in the business for 25 years. What's the most rewarding thing that you do?
is having feedback from the families after someone's moved in, that how their mom or dad are thriving and how happy they are.
And it's easier on both sometimes, right? You know, I mean, sometimes when a person is fighting to leave, right? They don't want to lose their being in their home, and I know it's very difficult for people. But at the same time, I remember when my grandmother, and this was a long time ago, they're not even halfway nice as they are now, but that she was put in a place, and let me tell you, she loved it. She'd rather be there playing cards with some people that she met as opposed to coming to our house and, you know, having to be with us all the time. But it was a good thing for both sides. The number to call her is 480-447-5787 at SonoranSeniorPlacement.com.